Hey there. So we're in a class on communications, and since I feel like maybe we aren't kind of grasping exactly what it is that we've been talking about over the last week or so, I thought I would drop the curtain behind the Wizard of Oz kind of thing and let you see the man who is behind that. I'm Jim Miller, and I'm really enjoying the time with you. This is a great class. I love the material on this thing. But what we're doing right now is we're trying to come to an understanding of the importance of engaging the audience whenever it is we're trying to communicate to an audience. If you're headed to church work or ministry of some kind, the chances are you're going to be leading Bible studies or giving messages or devotionals or talking to different groups and that kind of thing. And when you do that, I think sometimes we feel like communication occurs whenever it is we say something. Here I am trying to communicate to you, and if I were to think the simple fact that I'm making this video communicates something to you, that really isn't the case, because communication doesn't occur until you understand it, until you get what it is that I'm trying to tell you. And so that's what I'm trying to do here today, is to kind of clear some things up, maybe get some feedback from you, so that we can make sure that we're getting exactly what it is that this last week's assignments were about, and what this week's the assignment is about. I think this week, I've tried to write this to you. I think this week's assignment is just absolutely fantastic. It's fascinating to take a message, and then a message that I want to deliver, and then to think about two different groups, whether that's a group of teens or a group of older adults, or whether it's a group of camp kids versus a group of senior people, whatever the two groups are, that I take that message and I try to gear it toward each of these groups, okay? That was the whole thing from last week. That audience engagement worksheet wasn't so much about the content of your message. That's something that you'll work on this week, the content, but it was about thinking through the audience that you are delivering a message to, the characteristics of that audience, and how those characteristics change the way that I deliver a message, the way that I package it. It doesn't change the content so much; it just changes the way that I send it out, that I deliver it to these people. For instance, if I do a lot of stuff with college kids, and I love that age group. I feel like at 60 years old, I feel like for some reason I just connect well with that group. And the cool thing is that when I teach classes, I try to put myself in the mind of the college kid, and to craft the information that I'm giving in a way that is going to make it easy for them to accept it, to get through the filters that they have, to get through and so I use a lot of video, and I use a lot of storytelling, and I tell stories about kids their age, and when I was, I think about when I was their age, and I talk about my life at that age and in college, and the way that I understood life. And we try to use illustrations that are very relevant to them, and topics that are very relevant to them, especially teaching things like Christian worldview and that kind of thing. So when I'm communicating to them, certainly I'm concerned about the message that I want to get across, but I am as concerned with the way that I'm getting that message across. So I think through. Here I have 35 college kids, and some of them are sports people, some of them aren't. Some of them are writers, some of them aren't. Some of them, and so I think through the different character, and as I get to know them better, I can craft different aspects of my message to target and touch the kids in the way that they're going to understand it. so that's really what we're after in these messages. That audience work, and you know what, you guys have got to start reading my announcements because I'm putting important information in there. I wanted you to do, if you read the announcement, I was asking you to do 2 audience analyses because that's what you're going to do this week. You're going to craft your message to 2 different groups. So when we were looking at that, it wasn't so much about what's the content, but it's how are you going to package it? What kind of an introduction are you going to use? How are you going to grab their attention? What kind of language? If you're, if I'm talking to, I do this all the time. My son, one of my sons, I have 4 kids. One of my sons is a hipster kid. He's 27 years old. He just fits the hipster mentality, and so I go to class, and there are days that I wear my Toms to class. I don't know if you know what Toms are. They're a hipster kind of a shoe, and I always make sure to point it out. And because we laugh about it, and I talk about how I'm a hipster, and they laugh, and I say, "What are you laughing about?" And it just makes a connection between us. Even the way that we dress, the way that the room is set up, the kind of discussion that we have, the questions that I ask I think through those things in terms of who is my audience, who are these people that are out there that I'm talking to and that I care about and that I love, and how can I best formulate this message in a way that they're going to understand it. So this week, when you're going to do a sermon, and you're going to take the core message that you have, and you're going to deliver it. You're going to plan to deliver it to 2 different groups. The one can be, and really you ought to make these really distinct because that's when it's going to be fun. Make one of them a group of teenagers or college kids. Make another one a group of I don't know, like African American older women. To make it 2 really distinct groups, and then think through, now, if I'm going to speak to each of these groups, what am I going to do to engage this group of college kids, and what am I going to do to engage this group of African American women? What am I going to do? And how am I going to, how will my illustrations change, and then figure that out. Give me an introduction that targets those people. Give me an introduction that targets those people. Craft the delivery of your message in such a way that it's, tell me how the setting is going to be different for each of those groups. Tell me how your language or your vocabulary is going to change for each of those groups. This is what we're trying to think through is if I'm going to communicate, I have got to put my message in a form that person can get, that they're going to understand, because otherwise I haven't communicated at all. I used to have a poster on my wall in my college dorm because I was a communications kind of. I was a Bible major, but I didn't have communication was the other thing. I never got all the courses I needed for a double major, but I could have had that. And I was a theater geek and all that. So I had all this stuff going on. But one of the posters I had on my bulletin board in my dorm was, it said, "I know you believe you understand what you think I said, but I'm not sure you realize that what you heard is not what I meant." Now that was a kind of a convoluted way of saying that I have to be, as a presenter, as a message deliverer, I have to be so conscious of who my audience is and what it is that they're understanding when I say something. And I can't expect them to change. I can't expect them to be different in order to understand me. I've got to take the responsibility that if I want to get the message across, then I have to understand them. And I have to change my message in order to deliver it to them. So I kind of wanted to be able to say these things. It takes so much time to write this stuff out. And I want to get your response to this. So where I post this in the forum, I want you I want you to make sure that you respond to this and give me some thoughts. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Do you understand what this assignment this week is about? And so you're going to do 2 different sermons, and you're going to write them up for 2 different groups of people. And the message will stay the same, the points will remain the same, but they're going to be delivered in completely different ways if you have 2 really distinct groups. So don't just pick your regular Sunday morning group that is a wide variety of people. Target 2 different groups and think through it could be kids, it could be adults, it could be different races, it could be different ethnic groups, it could be different cultural groups. Just think through 2 different groups and how you would craft a message in order to reach those people. Okay? We'll try to work through some feedback on this and make sure that you understand it, but that's kind of where we're headed in this. So now that you get to see me and you get to see what I look like and all of that, maybe we should have done this early on. Okay, so blessings to you, and let's hope that I've gotten something across to you. Okay, and that we're actually communicating, since this is a class on communication, right? All right, bye.